let's start, and the conversation will, of course, keep going until the tower stands. Okay, there we go. So, tell me about how did you start Base Age?
Well, I was working with the New Television. Excuse me.
Come on.
Okay, New Television as the editor of Business and Finance, and it just struck me. I was in middle of budget transmission, if I remember correctly, and there was a lot of news that we had to make for the 9 o'clock bulletin, and we were not able to deliver. And I thought maybe if I can have a software which can write news. And I said, okay, after when I'm done, let's try making that software.
Okay,
That's
so
the
you
idea.
were working in a traditional newsroom, got frustrated, saw an opportunity, and because you have a background in programming and computer science, computer engineering, you thought that, I can put my skills together and make something productive.
Yeah, precisely. Also, I thought that it is
Go on.
it makes business sense as well, because you see the media houses and the content providers can benefit from it, and whoever makes that software can be in a commercially beneficial position.
Okay.
This camera is this. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't. So, explain to me how this software works. First of all, what's the name of the software?
The name of software is Dante,
Okay.
and what it does, something is wrong with this time around.
Yeah, the perspective was all changed. But tell me about Dante.
Okay, so what Dante does is basically, it's a long story. To cut the long story short, I wanted to make a writer first, and I soon realized that I cannot make a writer because computers don't write. And then I started making a reader instead. So what it is that it is a software which reads your style, and then it reads through the events and news, makes sentiment judgments on basis of the keywords that it has and what it has learned. It has a small machine learning module, and on basis of which it writes the news right now in a specific way, but we are developing it so that it can write in a more generic patterns and patterns that are evolving with time. Artificial intelligence these days is all about data, because everybody has a technology. The data is what matters.
Keep talking.
Yeah,
Keep talking, keep browsing, keep looking.
Something is wrong with this time.
We polished.
I know.
We polished everything.
I'm finding it difficult this time. Last time it was easier actually.
Yeah.
So this is what it is. It's basically read your style and then write. Your turn.
Okay, so it seems like a very in the newsroom, there's always an urgency. Whoever gets the news out first wins the race. They get the most number of hits, and today, because most newsrooms are digital, everyone goes to their websites. That's their first source of information. So speed really matters. So I'm thinking developments in the newsroom have started becoming towards digital, let's say maybe 6-7 years ago.
Your turn.
I'm just trying to formulate the
It's
question
your
so that,
turn.
you have something to answer. Okay, stop egging me on, because I can win, and then
Let's see.
everyone will be like, dobara jeet gayi.
Let's
Too
see.
much winning. Just like Donald Trump says, too much winning.
Let's
So
see.
since newsrooms have become digital, I would have imagined that this need was identified a long time ago. Doesn't something like this naturally exist already in the world?
Okay, two things. There are a lot of companies which are working on these ideas. We are not the only ones.
Okay.
The only thing is that we were able to deliver it first only because we have been doing it since 2009, and
You got जैसे है वैसे. Oh my god. Okay, this interview is going to be really short.
and
Acha, okay,
Okay, put it
I'll
back.
help you.
Okay.
We need him to talk something.
Okay,
go on.
okay. So, there are other companies that are working on this solution, and some of them are available for their own use. Like New York Times have a software called Heliograph. We believe the other companies are working on that too. Though none of the AI writing software right now are commercially available right now, but soon they will be. And it's not just about writing. What Dante does is one of the modules is it analyzes the news. It is analyzing and reading news all the time. So in the newsroom, it will rather work as a helper. It will tell the editor, this is the news which has popped up at CNN, this is the news which has popped up at say BBC. It is relevant to us because this set of keywords exist in that. Do you want me to make it? The editor will say, go ahead, make it. And say, okay, this is, here you are. So there is someone who's watching the news, there's someone who's making news for you, someone who is looking at the data, let's say stock market, financial data, and is constantly writing for you. So you don't have to go to a copywriter and say, I have this data, can you write news for me? Dante has already done for you. So what you have to do is to improve upon the quality. You have to put in that human touch that right now Dante or any robot writer doesn't have it. It will in say 2-3 years time because it's constantly evolving with the data that it has.
Right.
But once it is implemented, we are hoping sometime this year, we will see a great improvement in it once it starts working, because then it will have a lot of real data from the newsroom. From the, let's say if it is implemented, for example, in news spaces, yes, your turn. News spaces, I'll have the data, baby, it's your turn. It will have access to the news that you have made, the items that you have made, the data that you have. So it will go through it. It has the learning capacity. It will learn, it will see the way you write, the words that you use, how you construct your sentences, the data that you use, where it is used, how it is used, the images that you use. It is going to replicate
keywords and writing style.
Right? It is going to replicate your writing style. Of course, the more data we have, the better it gets.
Okay. But then you
am I about to lose?
Of course. That's, you can't. You have to put it straight.
I have to. Like this.
But at least you're working on the assumption that the source of all news that is written or that is generated is true. So when we look for references, for example, a seasoned journalist will say, okay, I need 3 references before verifying a story or before verifying a fact or before something becomes a fact. How does Dante do that?
Okay. Dante essentially doesn't do that. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
What we are doing is, we are putting this towards the editor. This is editor's responsibility. Let's say I have a source. I have a reporter named XYZ, and I trust the reporter. So I would assume the reporter's story just as I would in my newsroom.
Right.
It's true.
Okay.
Right? So if I, for example, Reuters. Now I know Reuters is an authentic source. I'm not going to verify Reuters. My turn? Right now the scope of this software is to write. To authenticate is another level.
Right.
Now, what we can do right now, we haven't done it, honestly.
Nobody has, right?
Nobody has. What we haven't done it, but we can, is one, give it to the editor. I made this news, I'm a reporter. Let's say this is a robot reporter. Data writer. So the writer has given you a report. And
The writer has given you a report. I can't even hear you. What are they gonna do?
okay, the writer is giving you a report, and now the editor has the responsibility of fact checking, verifying. We don't have a module for that right now. Or what it can do is, yes, this came from here, and I checked it with Sky. It's there. It seems authentic. You can air it, or it's nowhere. There is shady. Don't air it unless you verify it. So that's the two approaches. We haven't adopted any far, and it's your turn.
What form is Dante in? Is it an application? Is it a software?
Right now, it's right now it's a software which runs on Microsoft Windows.
Okay.
It uses Python. Python 2.7 is its main language.
Yeah.
But we are porting it on a web server. It will work as a SaaS, maybe software as a service, because we realized it will be tricky to actually install it everywhere. So what we are going to do is install it on a basic server and make a small client, a thin client, for every news media, for a blogger, for someone like yourself, and then you can utilize it. The data is centralized and decentralized at the same time. So you have your local data, which is yours, and then we have our data, which is partly yours, partly ours, and universal as well. So you don't have the problem of additional computational power or storage. We'll take care of that. And once you have the thin client, then client will go through the big data and the data that you have, and kind of go through it, synchronize it, and make the news. That's the plan. That's what we're doing. Right now, we only have the client level, the demo. It's not just demo. It's more like an MVP, minimum viable product, because it works.
Yeah.
And it can work right now on the client. Hopefully by the end of this month, probably we'll ship it on the server. So it will actually start writing on the server end. That is our plan in this quarter.
Alright, so it's I mean, it's really interesting to know what that plan is, but can we please get on with this plan?
Yes.
Because I think you've got no plan here whatsoever.
That's what you think.
How many sample pieces would I need to learn to write like me?
Ideally, I would ask you to give me like at least 200 to 500 pieces of articles that you have written. The more it is, the more data, the better it is.
Okay.
How did you do that?
But right now it's all fact, numbers based, which is why you
Mostly.
chose the financial industry,
Mostly.
right?
Yes.
Okay. How
It was there.
so you've been in a newsroom also.
For last 12, 13 years, yes.
So how do you think one concern of especially newsrooms where everything is labor intensive, but I think we can still get the interns to write, the chotas to go and go get this news, go search this, bring it back quickly. What happens to those kinds of jobs within the newsroom?
Well, that's a very sensitive question. And let me give you a realistic answer.
Okay.
Potentially, at the start of its implementation, it can affect a few jobs. Like the AI has started to affect the jobs of the junior level lawyers. Okay, so it can happen. But as I see it, once it becomes a tool, just like the computer is, the computers, as a fact, hasn't taken away any job. It has created more jobs.
Right.
I would like to see Dante or any AI writing tools as an additional tool for the writer.
Okay.
And I think potentially it can produce more jobs.
Because the
Not at the-
mundane jobs
Yeah.
will probably need to have a greater skill set to
Exactly.
be able to do so.
Exactly.
Do you think that appreciation exists in newsrooms in places like Pakistan or even the Middle East, for example?
Yeah, so far I have talked to a few people, I have been to a few places, given those interviews. People are still getting in to understand what kind of solution it can be, what value can it bring to a newsroom, or to be specific, how it can benefit the business. I think 2018 would be the year where we will see that the solutions like Dante will be...
I'm so happy
Did I lose again?
you did.
Oh yeah, 2018 would be the year where you see solutions like Dante being implemented.
Okay.
And I think realistically, by 2020 we will know the exact implication or the effect of these software on the newsrooms, on the industry. And I'm assuming right now it will be a positive one.
Okay.
Congratulations on winning the game again.
Thank you very much. Just quickly, where do you see Base H? I know you've just launched, and you've been working on Dante for a long time. So right now you're probably going through all the phases where you're looking for funding, trying to identify, so you've got an MVP in hand, you're moving forward. Where do you see Base H as a company in the next 2 years?
I think Base H should be the company which would be a company where you would like to work. the young developers, the young writers. Of course, we'll hire a lot of writers. It's not just that we'll hire developers, because to train the software, we'll be needing a lot of writers and the language experts as well. So I think BaseEdge will be a company where people would like to work, because we are trying to change the norms.
Yeah.
Our first ad on the Facebook says, if you think you can work as a developer, we don't need a college degree. If you think you can work professionally, it's good enough for us. Because we trust
What are
people.
you doing?
We're trying to be realistic, because
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, I
This
know.
is my sarcastic face.
I know. Because you see, I think that the college degrees and university degrees are quickly becoming irrelevant. And this era where you can acquire any skill on the internet in 5 days,
Right.
you don't need a college degree. All you need is the passion for something. You want to do it, go ahead and do it.
Right.
And we are trying to encourage people towards that. It's more about quality. It's more about your passion. What do you want to do?
Right.
And we'll try to help people in achieving their dreams too.
And it's also interesting because you just mentioned let's say if you'll also be hiring writers. So it's also interesting that a seasoned writer may not have had the experience of working with a developer, or as a writer who has a passion for programming, for example. It's not a very traditional kind of
Yes, it's very tricky.
job
Actually,
position that you
exactly. Thank you for asking that. One of the writers, a very seasoned writer, he came to me, he said, you developed this? I said, yes. How? I said, I have the background of programming. This is what he asked. He said, can I learn programming? I said, anyone can learn programming. He said, okay, I'll work with you and I'll learn programming, because I already know how to write.
Yeah.
And I said, look, the first software of its kind was developed for weather writing. It was developed by a journalist in America who happened to be a software developer.
Okay.
You cannot write the software if you don't know how to write, and additionally, if you don't have the capacity of writing code.
Right.
So you have to combine the both. I said, more than welcome, please go ahead. If you like it, if you're passionate about it, it's very easy to learn. And once you learn it, you can do anything actually.
But that's a mix that maybe universities may not. It'll still take them a long time to kind of fix their
Fine.
curriculum.
Of course.
But students will be a lot more agile to be able to, say,
Yeah.
I know this, now I can build on this.
Build on
and
this, yes. Because I think in the future 5 years, the skill set of our human beings is going to be really diverse. We need to be competing with the robots. Software like Dante, we need to be ahead of the game. So our skill set will be diverse, and we will needing to upgrade ourselves a lot more quickly than what we have been doing in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So we are moving into a space where it is uncertain of what is going to happen, but it's going to be exciting. That's all I know.
Okay. So we're gonna wrap this session up because Anis has lost so badly.
Not badly.
That's
Close. Okay.
I'm really champ at Jenga and also pressurizing. But I think it was a really fruitful discussion, and wish you all the very best.
Thank you, Ravi.
For BaseEdge and for Dante, and we'll as we tell the others who also come and sit in this hot seat and lose to me. We tell
Everybody
them
has lost. Nobody's won.
not yet.
Okay.
I obviously have too much time on my hands. I'm not doing enough to be able to practice this. But we often say that it's a very exciting time for anything and technology. So the isolation, despite the fact that technology also brings you in isolation, it also gives you the tools to get out because you have to incorporate and integrate something else. So it's a very exciting time and age to be in, hence the name The New Spaces. And we hope to, follow your journey as with all the others and see where you head out.
So at the end of this interview, share your feedback with me and the New Spaces team, and comments on New Spaces Facebook page. And you can of course log on to the New Spaces website, which is newspaces.com. And of course you can share your feedback with me and the New Spaces team.
Yeah, and we'll keep the discussion alive. Do follow us, do subscribe to our videos, and do visit our website so that we can keep this kind of content alive. Also, if you like our Facebook page, you will see, if you like our Facebook page and Instagram page and Twitter, you'll be able to see when we go live, which is usually about once a week or so. So, Anis, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rabia.
This is Rabia Gharib and Anis Sheikh signing out.